Most designers think their product work gets ignored because their UI is not good enough. But most of the time, that is not the real problem. The real problem is your screen might look good, but the way you present it feels generic. There is no story, no mood, no personality, no context, no reason to stop scrolling. And that is why great products get ignored. Before we get into the video, thanks to Adobe for sponsoring this video. In this series, I'll be using Adobe Firefly and Adobe Express to show how designers can turn product screens into launch-ready assets. Before we open any tool, we need to understand something important. What should product actually feel like? This is what this episode is about. Let's dive in. A lot of designers can create good screens. The spacing is clean, the typography is decent, the components are consistent, the layout also works. But when they post it online, present it to a client, or add it to their portfolio, it still feels flat. That is because a product screen can only show what that interface looks like, but not the entire product story. A product screen shows the dashboard, the onboarding flow, the UI layout, but the entire product story explains the problem, show who it helps, highlights the outcome, creates a reason to care. That difference itself is huge because a screen shows the interface, but a story tells a value. A product screen includes UI layout, buttons, cards, navigation, forms, and components. But a launch-ready product story includes the emotion, the audience, the problem, the product value, the mood, the perception around the entire product. This is where most designers miss the opportunity. They design the product, but they do not design the perception around it. And today, perception is the part of the product experience. So don't just design the screen, design the perception around it. And the same product feel completely different when you present it differently. A finance app can feel trustworthy or risky. A productivity app can feel overwhelming or calm. An AI product can feel powerful or confusing. A healthcare app can feel warm or cold. This is not about color. This is about the emotional signal that your product sends. By seeing your product, users ask themselves very quickly, does this feel credible? Does this feel useful? Can I trust this? Is this made for me? Is this worth my attention? The judgment happens before they read every single feature. So as a designers, we need to be intentional about perception. For this course, we will be using one fictional product example. Let's call it FlowPilot. FlowPilot is an AI workspace that helps early stage startup teams plan launches, organize tasks, and turn messy product ideas into clear execution plans. Now we can simply design a dashboard and stop it there. But the goal of this course is not that. The goal is to build complete launch-ready visual system around this product. That means we need to define how FlowPilot feels before we generate visuals in Firefly and create assets in Adobe Express. The first thing is to define the product tone. The product tone defines the emotional quality of the product. Is it calm? Is it bold, premium, playful, technical, human, minimal, or futuristic? For FlowPilot, we don't want it to be too playful because startup teams need trust. We do not want it to feel like an enterprise tool because startup teams hate large-scale systems. We also do not want it to feel futuristic because AI products can easily become abstract and confusing. So the tone of the FlowPilot should be clear, confident, modern, focused, and slightly energetic because it is for startup. Now, when we are generating visuals later, we are not prompting randomly. We already know how our product should look like. Now, when we generating the visuals later in Firefly, we already know how our products should feel like. So we are not just typing some random prompt. Next, we need to define who this product is for. This matters because the visuals that works for students may not work for a startup founder, and visuals that work for an old people may not work for young people. So for FlowPilot, the audience will be startup founders, product managers, small product teams, designers, and marketers. We can add some creators as well for FlowPilot. So I'll be adding that here. So these people are busy, generally busy, and they want clarity, they want momentum, they want tools that feels useful immediately. So our visual direction should feel structured, sharp, and easy to understand, and not stylish, not too decorative, and not too complex. And step 3 is to defining a visual mood. For FlowPilot, the visual mood can be modern SaaS, soft gradients, abstract workflow paths, clean background, subtle depth, and launch energy. This mood gives us a direction when we create visuals in Adobe Firefly. For example, instead of writing generate a cool background, we write according to the visual mood and in step 3, and uh, the product tone in the step 1. We we can write the prompt something like this: create a modern SaaS visual, launch visual with abstract workflow paths, soft gradients, clear composition, and focus on startup productivity mode. So this prompt is much stronger because it has a clear product context and the visual mode. Step 4 is to create the brand perception. For FlowPilot, we want people to think this feels useful, this feels modern, this feels startup ready, this feels simple but powerful, and this feels like it can help my team member move faster. So the perception will guide everything later, like the hero visuals, the carousels in the website, the launch poster, the feature announcement assets, and the final content and marketing kit. So if we do not define perception before, every asset will feel disconnected. One poster will look futuristic, one carousel will look minimal, one feature graphic will look playful, and suddenly the product feels inconsistent to the end user. And the final part is the content direction. Because visuals alone are not enough, we also need to know how we are going to talk about the product. So for Flow Pilot, the content direction could be less chaos, more clarity. From messy planning to launch ready execution, we need to deliver that message to the users, and we need to also deliver. We will be helping small teams move faster. So now we have the entire product story in these 5 steps. We are not just showing product screens to the users, we are actually communicating our product value instead of just showing the designs to the users. And when we create a carousel, let's say when we create a carousel in Adobe Express later, this content direction will help us decide the hooks, slide titles, story flow, and final CTA. So before we create any visuals in Adobe Firefly, we will need to create a simple product personality brief. So for FlowPilot, it looks something like this. Product is for FlowPilot. Audience are startup teams. Tone is clear, confident, and modern. Mood are soft gradients and launch energy. Perception is useful, organized, and trustworthy. So this particular brief becomes the creative foundation for the rest of the course and also the product. So before we move to the next episode, before we move into the next episode, your assignment is to create your own product personality brief. So you need to pick one app idea and write down what is the product, who is it for, how it should feel, how should people describe it after saying it, what story should the content communicate. Do not overthink about it. The goal is not to create the full brand strategy document. The goal is to create enough clarity so that our visuals have a direction. So that is it for this video. We will take this product's personality brief into Adobe Firefly and start exploring the mood, art direction, and support imagery in the next episode. So thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content.